Is it garbage night? We left the toilet seat up. What? What is it, woman? What?
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. Senior developer, co-founder of EHG Mike held his normal Friday Q&A live stream on Twitch, which means I get to bring you Dev Chat 192. As always, Mike answered lots of great questions from the community and gave us one Season 4 teaser, which we will talk about a little later in the video. Now we're going to jump right into the questions around something very close to my heart, something that me and my community monitor every single day. Roadmap when?
Roadmap when? When it's ready. I'm sorry, I don't have any ETA on a roadmap. I hope it's really soon. I hope we have lots of information for you about it. I do not know when that's going to be available. I apologize for getting your hopes up. I expected it quite a while ago myself.
As did I. You know, they talked about they were building a new roadmap because currently they have two roadmaps that are out of date. They said it's coming soon. Then they said it's coming very soon. Then Judd in the post said they're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Then Mike said, I'm surprised it hasn't launched yet. I've already seen it. And now it's been 2 weeks of radio silent. So everyone's like, well, what's going on? Now I have a theory. All right, this is just a theory. Normally they drop a 15-second teaser trailer 2 months prior to their season. So season 4, once you're within 2 months or halfway through, you normally get the teaser trailer. I am guessing that they want to drop maybe that 15-second teaser trailer for season 4 prior to us getting the roadmap, because the roadmap might spoil the name of it or the theming of it or something like that. Just a guess, but that's my thought. Please make this happen.
A chance a Last Epoch overlay comes to Twitch so we can see build and equipment, etc. This is something we've talked about. This is something we've seen suggested on streams many times. I would love one. I don't think it's something that we are actively developing at the moment, but yeah, it's the sort of thing that would be fantastic. Like a way to not have to go in and be like, okay, these are my skills, you know, like and actually like look at what's going on, like, oh, these are my passives, and just be able to, someone watching, be able to like look that stuff up. Oh my god, that'd be fantastic. As far as I know, there's nothing like that in development, but yeah, love it.
Want it, not happening. Now, whether you agree or disagree, EHG, the actual studio building the game, has said that a viable build can do 300 to 500 corruption. And a lot of people don't agree with that. Like, oh, if it can't do 1,000, if it can't do 2,000, if it can't kill Uber, it is not viable. Which makes this question very, very hard to answer. Because if you take that definition, 300 corruption, Last Epoch probably has more builds than any other ARPG that can accomplish that goal. I'm going to allow Mike to rant for a minute. Listen to this.
All right. Hi, Mike. We know not all reworks are built the same. Not all changes have a good reception, and the introduction of some new skills or reworks of existing skills sometimes miss the mark in terms of player expectations. And that applies to class rework as well. Do you guys at EHG have any concrete plans going forward to maybe accelerate the process of balancing stuff to hopefully make more stuff available each new season? It's a hard question to answer.
He's thinking.
I don't know if the how do I say this? The volume of I don't know how to say this at all. The volume of like viable builds and viable abilities and like things that are like powerful to use is yeah, this is so hard. It's fairly definition dependent, I think, on like where the line of what viable means. I think there are a lot of people who could hey, we got what we were looking for, nice. I think it's really easy to argue that certain builds are not viable and there's no point in running them. Like, I would probably see, I think it's pretty easy to argue that the build I'm running right now is not viable. I'm having a blast with it. I'm loving this build. So it's hard to look at this.
To be clear, he is playing Golemancer right now using my body armor, Aaron's Will. Right now, I'm on the 10th iteration of Golemancer for last Epoch, and with Season 3, we got it past 900 corruption. And most people say that this build is terrible. Is 900 corruption terrible? Is it good? Everyone has a different definition.
Build in a in like a balancing meeting and say, like, we need to do something to fix this sort of thing. I think there is. I think the rate of builds the rate of balancing stuff that we've been doing, for how much time we've spent doing it, is increasing. And that might not be obvious when looking at like the changes that happen season to season. And there are some larger scale changes, so that there are certain systems that will have much larger scale changes to the overall balance of the game and what becomes viable and what becomes available. That like there's some larger system changes that we've been working on that are that will affect more skills than usual and more classes than usual, and more like situations than usual.
Skill sigils, I think.
Cool. That when that eventually lands, it like there'll be some larger scale shakeups that do happen eventually. But I wouldn't like go into season 4 expecting like, oh, there's gonna be like 10x the number of skills that were heavily reworked or something like that. There's like the season 3 that we just did was very light in terms of like large scale reworks to abilities and new abilities being added. And so I think like season 4 will have more than season 3 did, but I don't think it's like I don't want to say that there's like a specific push to really accelerate the volume of skills that are reworked.
I think what most people expect, and obviously this question probably comes off the PoE 1 reveal for their new league, is that people like shakeups as far as balance, not just new stuff like, oh, these top 20 things got nerfed, but these top, bottom 20 things that nobody plays got super buffed. So it's like, okay, this stuff that got nerfed is still super good, but let's see what we can make with the crap that nobody ever uses. I think EHG probably could lean more into that as far as bringing the bottom up maybe a little quicker, because there's a lot of skills in the game that have just been bad for so long, and people would love to be able to try those out. Now time to talk teaser, and you need to buckle down for this one. Mike continues to use the word cryptic. Listen to this.
Here's our teaser for the day. It is cryptic and difficult to figure it out, but this is a thing that'll show up next season in some way, and there's stuff that has to do with it. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike, for all the descriptions. He uses the word cryptic over and over again. I don't know. So when I first looked at this, we're all in chat joking around. Great, the teaser is abstract art. This doesn't tell us anything. But then we started breaking it down a little bit. Like, okay, in this corner here, when I look at this, it looks like the map. So I went to the end of the time. I went to the ancient era. I was trying to like match this little green kind of circle oval here to see if I could find exactly where this is. And I didn't find a perfect match. But ultimately, this looks to me like something that is taken over a part of the monolith, taken over a part of the map, maybe corrupted it. Juicing, something like that. So that's kind of what I was guessing. Then one of my internet sluices, community member, shout out to Blaster, sent me this image. Check this out. So what you're looking at right now is a previous teaser from a few weeks ago. And it's like a hand or a shoulder or something. I don't know. To me, it looks like the back of a tremor. but you could tell that in the image they showed, it looks like top left, you can see this finger or whatever the hell it is on the top left. I would agree that those look very, very similar. On top of that, taking it one step forward, you could see that on another teaser they have showed us, kind of this rock, maybe broken glass, something breaking apart is also shown in this teaser image, right? Those look extremely similar. Now, what does that actually tell us? It doesn't tell us anything because we don't know what that first teaser is. So if we don't know what the first one is, knowing that the first teaser's in the second teaser doesn't actually help us. We just know that they go together, right? Now, taking it one more step further, I did get a little bit of information that somewhere on some platform, somebody typed and guessed what it is, and they were correct. So then in my mind, it's like, okay, on the internet, what this is available. So I went to all the different socials. I went to the forums. I went to the chat. And the number one guess right now for this is Breach. Now, I don't know if they're just thinking Breach because of the PoE 1 league that we're getting next week. But on the map, or maybe in a map, a purple, portal, a purple area that's extending outward, that has something in the center that is breaking apart. I could make the leap to like an EHG breach system, maybe. But again, I have no idea. Mike makes this statement that I find pretty interesting.
Is possible. I don't have any information to indicate one way or the other at all right now, but I just want to leave the door open for the possibility that we could in the future change the style that this happens in. And season 5, there's a possibility. I have no reason to believe this will or won't happen at all, but I just want to leave this open as a possibility just in case.
Sure.
That it is possible that season 5 could have like season specific mechanics that do not go immediately into legacy. That is something that we are saying is that we're open to doing. And we've done like a sliver of that before, which I really liked when we released Aberoth originally, where you couldn't access Aberoth until someone on like the live season, the new season had completed it. So the legacy characters couldn't fight Aberoth until it was completed on season, which I thought was great. It was like a couple days after, something like that. It was like next business day or something, and because it was like on a weekend, and so it ended up being like 3 days or something, or 2 days. Anyways, I really liked that. I thought that was great. I think it there's pros and cons to doing it the style we've been doing it, the style that Path of Exile's been doing it, and I really like the hybrid approach that we did for the Aberoth release, because it did give players who were like wanting to experience this new mechanic and this new content that's super difficult, and it was like the new hotness at the time. That people were experiencing it with like more fresh characters, with things that were not just pre-existing day one, show up, slam the fight, just roll over everything great, with like perfectly epic legendary mega characters that were already set. Like not doing that was awesome. And at the same time, not forcing people to play the new season to play the new content. So I really liked that hybrid approach. But right now, the current plan is not to change any of that, and just do simultaneous releases of all the stuff. It's possible that could change. It's possible season 4 could change that too. But I haven't heard anything to indicate that it will change or not change.
I would guess they're at least talking about it. A lot of people don't know this. In Last Epoch, you do not have to make a season or character. Standard and season are the exact same games. Right now, EHG is not making a standard realm and a seasonal realm, which means when season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5 comes out, you don't have to start over if you don't want to. Now, obviously, most people do start over, me included, but it's not a requirement. I'm curious in the comment section if you like the idea, if you don't have to start over, or do you think seasonal games you should? Let me know in the comment section. All right, everybody, unfortunately, we've come to the final question for Dev Chat 192, and I'm going to leave you with Mike drawing and breaking down sub-skills inside of Last Epoch. Mike, as always, thank you for your Friday live streams. The community truly appreciates it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you think I've earned it. Don't forget to check out my new website, actionrpg.com. We got leveling guides, build guides, tips and tricks, working right now on tier lists, and we got a new music player, event calendar, news. Website is really coming along. Don't forget to join the Discord, over 5,000 members. We do merch giveaways, game giveaways, movie nights, game nights, all the subathon events. Awesome place to hang out if you love all things action RPG. I am done. Mike, show everyone your awesome drawing skills.
If possible, may you please take a minute to explain the parent and child relationship when a skill can cause another skill. Specifically about when will a child inherit the parent's skill nodes. To be more specific, what happens when a skill procs a skill and then that second skill procs a third skill, or when items create a situation when an item causes a skill to proc a second skill. My apologies if this does not read well. Pretty good. So I think this is a good opportunity for drawing on the screen. What's the best way to do this? Do I have a good example here that I can look at of things that proc things? There is. It is in Chthonic Fissure and Chaos Bolts. Okay, and then Chaos Bolts. There's one of these. Here we go. There's another one. Okay, so we can go down the chain here. Let's go down a long chain. This is a really complicated example, actually. I don't know, it might be too complicated. Cast Bone Curse. All right, sure. We know we want to trigger something that's not specializable, right? Does Bone Curse trigger non-specializable things? Let's go far. Bone Eruption. Okay, cool. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. Okay. So we are going to take... we're going to start with Chthonic Fissure in this example. Where's Chaos Bolts? Chaos Bolts over here. Okay, so Chaos Bolts, when you cast Chaos Bolts, when you cast Chthonic Fissure, it has sub-skills that it creates. So it has sub-skills is what I'm going to call as a child skill here. So the sub-skill for Chthonic Fissure, you cast Chthonic Fissure, it creates the trail that goes along the ground. So you cast Chthonic Fissure. As you do, yay! I'm so happy. And I cast Chthonic Fissure out this way, and it's got the flames that come up here, and then out of there shoots these spirits. You know, and they attack things. Those are sub skills of Chthonic Fissure. Okay, so they inherit. It's actually the Chthonic Fissure that casts them. So every actor, which is every the player character, minions of player characters, other player characters, enemies, totems, these are all actors. Anything that has a health bar basically is an actor. Plus Falcon is also an actor. Actors can have an AOC, an ability object constructor. This allows this thing to create ability objects. So that means that this player can cast Chthonic Fissure, can cast Fireball, can cast whatever. So it has the ability to construct abilities. when it's constructing an ability, it takes that thing that's constructing it, it takes that thing's stats and applies it to the ability. So the AOC says, okay, player stats of spell damage get applied to this Chthonic Fissure. And this Chthonic Fissure now has all of those stats. Every ability object also has an AOC, an ability object constructor. So this Chthonic Fissure also now may cast abilities. When the Chthonic Fissure casts an ability, like the spirit that comes out and attacks something, that spirit that comes out and attacks and does damage to the target is created by the ability object constructor that's on Chthonic Fissure. However, it still says that the creator, the actor creator reference for this spirit that came out is the player that originally cast the Chthonic Fissure, because that reference, that creation reference, gets passed through. Sorry if this is too complicated. I don't really know how in detail we want to go here, but we're a little low on questions, so I'm going to go deep. The Chthonic Fissure itself is like a top level skill. It's like a parent skill because it is specializable. That's why I brought up the skills panel. Because there is a way to specialize Chthonic Fissure, it's a parent skill, so to speak. Are we done? Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. One of those spawned in the background. Okay, I probably shouldn't be doing this while I'm in an echo, but whatever. I got minions. Okay, so we've got our easy player creates a ability object. That ability object creates child ability objects, and they attack. When this Chthonic Fissure and the ability object constructor that is attached to it creates this spirit, it passes all of the stats that are on this Chthonic Fissure, which came originally from the player, onto the thing it creates. So it passes those stats along. Easy. This is the standard example of just about every sub-skill we have in the game. And lots of things use sub-skills that don't seem like they do it. Like, for example, Glacier is a really good example of this. The ability Glacier is actually an invisible object that floats through the air. And then Glacier creates 3 sub-skills as it's moving in place. So you cast Glacier in this direction, this invisible object moves, and it just keeps moving. And when it gets to a certain time of moving, it creates the first one, then it creates the second one, and then it creates the third one. And that's what Glacier actually is. So it's creating 3 sub-skills from one parent skill. And the parent skill does literally nothing other than just make the 3 sub-skills. But it's all invisible. When Chthonic Fissure has this node here and it has Chaos Bolts, these are Chaos Bolts. However, because Chaos Bolts itself is a specializable ability, when Chthonic Fissure is going to recast the Chaos Bolts, it doesn't use its own ability object constructor. It goes back up to the player. This is because whatever ability object constructor is being used, it uses that thing's mutator for the ability. So we want the player's Chaos Bolt GC. Chaos Bolts. We want the player's Chaos Bolt mutator for to be used. So that means that Chaos Bolt's skill tree is taken into effect. The tree makes the mutator. So the skill tree makes the mutator, and that's why we want Chthonic Fissure, when it casts Chaos Bolts, to use the player's ability object constructor, not its own. So this is where it gets confusing, because when it does that, the stats that are on that Chaos Bolt do not apply. So the stats that are on that Chthonic Fissure do not apply to that Chaos Bolt. Where it gets really confusing is sometimes there's specific properties that we want to make sure are passed down for this specific cast of Chaos Bolts. So maybe we're like, okay, this Chaos Bolts, we want it to specifically have some bonus when it's cast in this way. So it has to go back to the it actually goes back to the mutator, not the ability object constructor. It goes back to the mutator and says cast Chaos Bolts for me with this specific property. And the mutator goes, okay, I'll do that. AOC actually cast it. Here's the stats, and it casts the Chaos Bolts from that spot. And when it does that, new stats from the player are passed on to the new Chaos Bolts that are coming out. So this is why sometimes it feels like the tree applies, and other times it feels like the tree doesn't apply. So the Sonic Fissure casts Chaos Bolts, and then Chaos Bolts does the exact same thing when it casts Bone Curse at the target location. Chaos Bolts lands, it says, I have to cast Bone Curse. And so it says, hey player, you have to cast Bone Curse at this location now, because we want to make sure that the Bone Curse skill tree applies at that location. So the player automatically, it happens behind the scenes, the player casts Bone Curse. What did we say? Here's what Bone Prison is a good one example as well. So Bone Prison, because it is not specializable, it doesn't need to go back to the player and get new stats because there's no skill tree to be applied. There's no items to be applied. It just is going to work. And so Bone Curse is actually what is casting Summon Bone Prison. Now, Bone Prison, interestingly enough, is an ability that casts a collection of sub-skills. So Bone Prison itself is not what you see. Bone Prison is the ability that creates a whole bunch of little abilities for the pieces of the Bone Prison. The actual chunks in the circle that show up. So it's you can have all these cascading things, and the really important thing to remember is that when the ability that's being created is specializable, so it can appear in the skills panel somewhere on any character. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be on the same character. So if there's some way to trigger Meteor on an Acolyte, Meteor would still go back to the player's ability object constructor. It would not go through the items. Yeah. Sorry for that horribly long ramble. I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, please ask it again and I'll be happy to explain differently.